Personally, I'm more of a hamburgler guy. Welcome back to So You're Interested In, the show where I break down an artist's discography in order to give you, the viewer, the best possible jumping off point in order to get into their catalog. On this episode, we're looking at the noise rock band Chat Pile. Founded in 2019, this Oklahoma City outfit hit the ground running from the start. Within their first year as a band, they had already released 2 EPs that were praised by both critics and fans alike for their visceral, chaotic music. Residing mainly in the noise rock sound, the band also creeps into other subgenres such as sludge metal, post-hardcore, and horrorcore to round out their provocative presence. Chat Pile is not for the faint of heart, not just because of their abrasive instrumental performances, but also thanks to lead vocalist Ray Gun Bush's emotional and evocative executions. This band covers as much sonic ground as it does lyrical topics too, going from referencing classic horror film antagonists to addressing the capitalistic hellscape that conquers the American reality. But at the end of the day, what truly matters is Chat Pile fucking rips. If you like your music loud and scary as hell, then I have a feeling you'll be able to get into this group rather easily. So, to help you out, I'm going to be recommending 2 albums and 3 individual tracks that you should be checking out in order to finally enter the terrifying world of Chat Pile. As always, let's start with the albums. The first Chat Pile album to check out should be their breakout 2022 LP, God's Country. This record is manic to its very core, with flippant emotional vocals and panicky chord progressions. Heavy is the understatement of the century, as God's Country is 15 metric tons of riffs and screams. One of the earliest examples of all of this is the song Why. The guitars and bass are super crunchy, while still being dynamic and almost reserved, at least in a way that a Chat Pile song might be reserved. Yes, the instrumental is hard, but it takes a bit of a backseat to the stellar vocal performance of Bush, who questions why there are houseless people in America when we have such a vast wealth at our fingertips. The totality of this cut is harrowing, as Bush lays it all out on the line, forcing you to come to grips with the evil reality that we have forced upon so many people as a money-hungry nation. It's fucked up, and he is so right. The next song in the track list, Pamela, continues down this horrorcore path. Written from the perspective of Jason Voorhees' mother, Pamela details the events that led to her fictional son's demise, and tries to shed light as to why he might have come back the way that he did. Sonically, these guitars are pretty wet, while the deafening bass and hollow drums create a soundscape that is brutally evil and intense. There is tension around each corner, creeping like the death that follows each and every one of us, showcasing the band's outstanding songwriting abilities and sending this song into the dark crystal lake that drowned Jason. Another scary standout comes in the form of Anywhere. Admittedly, this song is kind of a bop. Chat Pile grinds out some killer grooves that can move even the most petrified listener. It churns and chugs with deep chords and streaky guitar smears, elevating your heart rate with each passing note. Once again, the vocal performance is stellar, especially when it comes to the surprisingly singable hook, as Bush belts out, "It's the sound of a fucking gun, it's the sound of the world collapsing." Anywhere is truly riveting and can be listened to anytime, anywhere. Okay, I deserve that. Finally, this album closes out with the 9-minute horror epic grimacesmokingweed.jpg. Yes, you heard me correctly, and if you don't believe me, you can go look it up yourself. Chat Pile flexes their scary muscles the hardest on this cut, as Bush completely unravels while the nightmare of Grimace comes to light. In this winding, elaborate song, we are gifted deranged vocals, jittery percussion, and ripping guitars to build a world that terrifies Bush. It's intense, vivid, and lively throughout, as you'll undoubtedly be inching closer and closer to the edge of your seat. grimacesmokingweed.jpg is a more than fitting end to this grueling LP. If you enjoy horror movies and like loud music even more, then I cannot recommend God's Country highly enough. Next up, you should check out Chat Pile's latest effort, 2024's Cool World. This title is more than deceiving, as there is nothing cool about this album's outlook of the current world. Cool World is a harrowing endeavor, pulling no punches and sparing no souls from their disgusting damnation of modern society. The band's anger and aggression is put on full display, as this is probably their hardest hitting and most unrelenting project to date. Right off the bat, we get I Am Dog Now, a groovy tune that is also uncompromisingly sinister. This song finally answers the age-old question, what if the band Korn was actually evil? Even while being bludgeoned by Bush's ballistic verbal blurts, it's hard not to dance along to the stammering instrumental. Plus, you'll be hard-pressed not to shout along to I Am Dog Now like the ravenous beast that you truly are. Another angry cut is the ill-titled Funny Man. This cut is played hard as hell, feeling like the guitar and bass strings broke off after each ferocious take. Personally, I think this is one of the most interesting lyrical pieces on the LP, as Bush condemns the approach to the American military mindset. He condemns the bloodlust that is not only enforced, but thrust upon soldiers from their commanding officers, turning these everyday men into killing machines that have no limit to their inhumanity. It's not necessarily a critique on the soldiers themselves, but on the war machine that perpetuates and requires this savage and barbaric demeanor. But enough about the horrors of war, let's talk about some other dark tales with the tuned tape. These lyrics are cryptically gruesome, forcing the listener to paint a bloody picture in their own head. It tells the story of somebody who stumbled upon a heinous crime and is forced to relive this sight again and again. Bush spins this yarn with some of his most unhinged and grizzled vocals in all of their discography, compelling you to be mesmerized by his words. Instrumentally, this thing is pretty complex too, shifting around halfway through the cut to these glitzy guitar stammers that builds the overall tension of the story. One last song I'd like to hit before we move into the individual tracks is the song Mask. Surprisingly, I'd argue that Mask is Chat Pile's most accessible song they've ever released. The driving repetitive rhythm is infectious as all hell, sounding utterly insane. They balance melodic portions with eardrum screeching sections as well. This entire piece is profoundly evil, but equally human, somehow morphing into their best personification of fear to date. They don't reinvent their sonic identity with Mask, they take what they know and they perfect it. It's big, bold, ugly, and catchy, simply a killer cut. As of this recording, Cool World has only been out for a little while, so I still feel there is some stuff that I am not properly covering here. So do yourself a solid and dive deep into this record, as it will go down as one of 2024's very best. And that is going to do it for the albums, but don't you go anywhere, because we still got some tracks to cover. First up, you should check out Mask from their 2019 EP, Remove Your Skin Please. This is not to be mistaken as Mask from Cool World, by the way. Two completely different songs. Mask is actually a really fun and catchy track, all things considered. The guitar and bass bounce around, while Bush's vocals are strangely melodic, having some sing-songy elements that aren't explored all that often in their discography. Tonally, it doesn't seem as intense as some of the other stuff in their catalog, although the song does seem to be about Bush trying to convince himself not to commit suicide. There's a real give and take to the heaviness of this one. The instrumental does take a heavier tone towards the close of this track, as the drums, bass, and vocals all grumble like an earthquake. I'm more or less suggesting Mask because it's less of an art installation and more of a traditional song. Obviously, Chat Pile excels at making these haunting art pieces, but sometimes it's nice just to jam out to some riffs. So give Mask a shot. Next, go ahead and spin Brutal Truth from the band's 2021 split EP with Portrayal of Guilt. Right off the bat, the bass on this thing leaps off the track and into your ears, invading like a creature of the night. This cut is fierce as hell, going all out on their oral assault and doing everything they can to scare the living shit out of you. Matt King of Portrayal of Guilt does some guest vocals on here, and they are simply incredible. His snarls add an extra spice alongside Bush's manic vocal breakdowns. It's like they were destined to make a song together, and that song was destined to escape the pits of hell and appear on Earth as a unholy demon. The riffs are riveting, the percussion is spine-rattling. Yeah, this thing is a certified ripper. There should be no excuses as to why you can't check out Brutal Truth, unless of course you're willing to admit that you're a scaredy pants loser. Finally, I think you should listen to Cut from the band's 2023 split with Nerver, Brothers in Christ. This thing is wickedly impressive in terms of the song's actual construction. It's not that it reinvents the wheel, nor do I consider it to be my favorite Chat Pile instrumental, but it's so thorough in its execution that it's hard to deny its greatness. Particularly, the percussion sounds outstanding, taking so many different shapes and forms throughout this 4-minute and 40-second runtime. The guitars are a fucking mess, shredding in and out like a blade through the skin, at times using long methodic slashes and at other times stabbing quickly and hastily. Lyrically, this thing is a nightmare. It appears Bush is singing about a killer going back to the place where he first murdered a girl. The killer is apathetic to his heinous crime, but he still feels deeply connected to the place of the killing. If Chat Pile knows one thing for sure, it's how to write a compelling, evocative song, and Cut is no exception. And that is going to conclude my video covering Chat Pile. Links to all of the albums and tracks discussed here will be located in the video description box below. Scroll down even further to the comments section where you can let me know if you liked any of the albums or tracks that I picked here. Maybe you're already a massive Chat Pile fan and you think that I completely fucked up this list. That's fine, go to the comments and let me know. While you're down there, feel free to recommend any artist that you would like to see covered on So You're Interested In. Just know that I do have a bit of a backlog built up, so if I don't get to it right away, it's nothing personal, I'm probably working on it. Please be sure to subscribe to Forever Spinning if you have not done so already. Not only does it help me out, but it'll help you be in the know when new videos just like this drop. I would also like to invite you to join the official Forever Spinning Discord server. If you're like me and you can't stop talking about music, then this is a great place to join to find new stuff, old stuff, and everything in between. There's a link to that in the description as well. And that is just about going to do it this week, outside of my usual reminder for you to go out and support your local record store if you are able to, along with the local artists in your area, and well, till I see you next time, happy listening.